What's up, everybody? Welcome to Couch Dimension, our video games podcast where we examine video game news from a legal developer and player lens. I am your host, TinyBigDude. I'm joined today by my co-host, Red and Captain. Red, Captain, how is it going?
Hey, who was that guy? Who was that guy that walked in and the lights got really dim and he just whispered into a mic left? He said some things about our couch.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping to just gloss over that because I don't know that guy, honestly.
Okay.
Clearly another temporal anomaly.
Yeah.
This tiny big dude from the future. Come on, get your shit together.
Oh boy, I just realized I didn't change the go live notification. So I took a Ritalin today, gang, and I might have spent the last hour doing show adjacent things. Yeah, so that's, I don't know who that strange man was, though. That's completely unrelated to my whole situation here. But yeah, guys, how are you doing this week?
Oh, my house tried to explode, but I'm making it.
I'm okay this week. Last week was very busy for me. I'm still kind of tired.
Yeah, speaking of which, last week was busy for everybody, and I apologize because today was rather busy for me. We got a little bit of a late start here, so if you've been sitting in chat, thanks for waiting on us.
Don't apologize for last week. Last week was my idea. If you apologize for that, then it implies the idea is bad. Don't do that to me.
No, I'm not apologizing.
Don't do that to me. I can't take that.
Last week was fun. I had a lot of fun last week. But my point being, we're back to the news. We're back to the news because this week we while busy, we had a little bit more free time. I had about an hour of free time before the show. And anyways, so let's get into it. Let's get into the news, guys. This week's first story I'm going to cover, and it's about a group called Embracer. Now, I actually didn't know anything about this before Captain sent it my way, but I'll try to cover it to the best of my ability. So, Embracer is a group, a sort of holding company for a number of video game developers that they have bought up en masse over the last several years, and now it seems that some of those might be hitting some troubled times, let's say. So this group, they bought Borderlands, they bought Deus Ex, they bought the rights to The Hobbit. If you want to make a Hobbit video game, then they're the people you would go to. Except not anymore, because back in February of this year, sorry. This is from Kotaku, by the way. They fired a bunch of people and canceled 30 games. So things aren't going so good for them. They laid off about that's almost 1,400 jobs. They canceled 29 games across the company. And now there is a rash of companies either buying themselves back or being sold by Embracer. So among those is Take-Two has bought Borderlands for $460 million, and Saber Interactive bought itself back for $500 million. Saber Interactive, by the way, are the folks that originally developed the Knights of the Old Republic. And so they lost a lot of money on these deals, too, because they acquired Borderlands for $1.3 billion, sold for $460 million. Also, I don't know how Gearbox is worth less than Saber. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. They sold Gearbox for $460 million. They sold Saber for $500 million. Anyways.
It's no longer Gearbox.
Oh, is it not?
Nope, they are changing it upon being sold.
Oh, to Take-Two. What are they now?
Let me double check it. Was it ArcWorks? Arc Games.
Okay, Arc Games then.
They have
Definitely
renamed.
not going to get that confused with a Japanese company that
No,
makes
no, I definitely
JRPGs.
wasn't getting confused with Arc System Works. I would never. um, Now I will say, because I wanted, if you heard me typing, it's because I want to do some double checking. And while I don't think they owned Lord of the Rings when it started, under their oversight, Lord of the Rings Gollum was released and not smothered in the crib as it should have been. So I guess that's a legacy.
You know, I guess it is.
Have you watched much gameplay of it?
No, I actually haven't. I'm actually like really confused on the Gollum game
No, I'm
because
not
I
a
don't
true
understand
masochist.
how you make Gollum a game. Like, I
I'm not a true
fundamentally
masochist,
don't
so I
get
didn't
it.
play it. I watched a stream of someone playing, or quite a bit of one. Dude,
Can you explain? What do you do? Is it like a Telltale game or something?
it's a stealth game, kind of.
Kind
Some
of.
platforming happening, some very bad stealth sections. You spend most of the game. I think the game has the structure of you start like you've been captured by elves, so you had to tell them where you've been, and where you've been is spending a lot of time in an orc prison. That's like the first half of the game. Second half of the game, spend time in that elf prison. Golem can't catch a break.
So it's a stealth game where you spend the majority of the game having failed at stealth.
It's and it's just mechanically a mess. It's it's as you know what, hot take, Golem game not good. It was a disaster. I highly encourage anyone listening to go look up some gameplay. It's
Well,
rough.
if it seems like that's bad for the studio, a second plane has hit the towers, so to speak.
The two towers.
Everyone's favorite 9/11 financier, Saudi Arabia, pulled out of a financing group with the company that would have been a $2 billion deal. Now, I said that sort of in reverse because I wanted to use that second plane has hit the towers thing. This actually is from August of 23. And sort of is the reasoning behind the layoffs and everything in February. I apologize for this seat, but I just thought it'd be funny.
And yet, you still didn't really take advantage of the segue there. With the you had a clear Lord of the Rings two towers joke.
I'm not sure that's very clear. I mean, I agree it's there somewhere, but I would have had to dig a little harder for it. And
Oh, I'm sorry. I was asking for effort. I apologize.
anyways, so a Saudi financing company that's actually a Saudi public investment fund pulled $2 billion, a $2 billion deal away from Embracer back in August, which is probably why they're selling everything in a mad fire sale and laying people off now.
Oh my god! It's a fire sale!
Jet fuel can melt your bottom line.
Jesus.
Yeah, so, you know, why is the story important? Why are we covering it? That's a fair question, audience. And the reason for this is, I think it really underlies something that's happening in the games industry, and that is that there's a large buy-up going on right now, a consolidation of many game developers, and you can see this in the instance of Microsoft buying up half the market. And so what that's resulting in is, rather than a larger number of independent firms, almost a oligopoly-like situation. We're getting something akin to what Disney has going on in, you know, TV and movies right now, where they own half of everything. And the inherent problem with that system, as Lena Khan, chairwoman of the FTC, explained recently on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. That was a really great interview. I just wanted to plug that. Love Lena Khan. I know that's like, no one knows who that is, but trust me, she's awesome. But she was explaining that you have, when you get these oligopoly situations, these monopoly situations, an issue with all your eggs being in one basket, right? So this company had all of the IP eggs in their basket, and they dropped that son of a bitch, and now Borderlands is running everywhere, and it's a real Humpty Dumpty situation on our hands. Um, so, when you get, because I also fell into this trap. When Microsoft was buying stuff, initially I was like, oh, hey, that's actually pretty good. Like, maybe we'll get better quality games and faster turnarounds and yada, yada, yada. And instead, what we've gotten is actually a decrease in quality, and Microsoft owns everything. So, like, we get not only, we get Redfall. We get Redfall. And we
Okay,
get
but
a lot of situations like it.
Game Pass is pretty cool though.
Game Pass is pretty cool.
That
I think
is
you
not
could do that through a licensing agreement with third parties. I don't think
That
all that
wasn't
has
a
to
real
be first
argument.
party.
You don't have to engage with it. That was a joke.
No, but that's the fundamental thing here, right? Is actually that's exactly it. Because Game Pass is pretty cool. And you know what else is pretty cool? Amazon. It's cool to have stuff shipped right to your door, right? Like that is the and this is what Jon Stewart described as the bait and switch. Tech companies and companies generally form together with this massive amount of power, and then they give you something cool and shiny and say, wow, isn't it cool that we own all the games? Because now you can use Game Pass. But in 20 years, if Microsoft gets their way and they corner the market, then they crank the price of everything up. They get you dependent on it first, and then when they're the only game in town, they screw you.
Yeah. Hey, can we have a quick moment behind the curtain? Did you change the go live message by any chance?
I didn't.
Yeah, I noticed.
Yeah, that was a bit of an oversight because I was kind of running late to the show
You're all good.
because I was
No,
really tied up with an hour of free time before the show.
No, I just wanted to check because I
And
looked
so,
at my phone and it's like,
some
wait a minute.
things slip through the cracks, and the go live notification is one
We're
of
back from
them.
inside the cushions again.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? It says we're screwing around this week. I don't gotta do nothing.
It also says it's episode 7, so I guess this is episode 7 Redux. I'm deleting the old episode 7. This is now episode 7.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't have brought it up if I didn't think it was funny.
There is no episode 7 in the couch dimension.
So I did want to bring up one thing about Embracer Group. This isn't the most important story, it's an older one, but I thought you might find it funny, Tiny, that a lot of the IPs they acquired, they had acquired a bunch from Square Enix, like Deus Ex, which I think it might be getting free. It might be trapped, which would be apt because originally Deus Ex, before Human Revolution, had been trapped for like 10 years. So, anyways, they sold those properties to Embracer because they wanted money to make some NFT games.
Wow. That is just bad decisions being made to other parties making bad decisions.
If Final Fantasy XIV didn't exist to fund the entire company, I don't know if they'd still be around. Speaking of Square Enix, though, I would like to talk about one of the companies they've worked with, which is Deck Nine. They are known for working on the Life is Strange series. And this came from an article from Rebecca Valentine at IGN. Workplace hasn't been great at Deck Nine, apparently. And we've gotten some stories coming out from there. And as for the Square Enix connection, when working on Life is Strange, they described Square Enix as being bullies and really pushing them around, pushing things on them when they said they just didn't have enough time to get it done. And notably, Square Enix said that they didn't want Life is Strange to be known as the gay game, to which I'd say mission failed successfully. Because I mean, it kind of became known as that, but also that's why people liked it. So
People liked it for that.
Huh?
That was one of the biggest things about it.
Yeah, that's why I say they failed successfully.
Because it didn't. It wasn't like the token. It wasn't token. If I remember, like it wasn't forced.
Apparently, they've had a lot of and some of that they said is like they didn't feel that management did a good job advocating for the studio and fighting for them. And I've been there, not in a game dev environment, but a dev environment. And let me tell you, it fucking sucks when it feels like the people in charge will not go to bat for you. And I know that's kind of expected to some degree. A lot of people don't expect management or their bosses to care, but there is a feeling of like when you're in that position of I'm giving it all I got, I know the whole team is, and more keeps getting asked of us, and every time we are only told to do better. There's never any thought of like telling other people, creating any kind of boundary. And in the realm of boundaries, we had one of the writers, I think he may have been narrative lead, for Life is Strange Before the Storm, he worked a little on True Colors, the most recent one, named narrative director. Oh, and I didn't realize eventual Deck 9 CCO, Zach Garris, who has a bunch of accusations at him of like taking women and being weirdly close with them in the workplace, talking about he could get them promotions and stuff. But this kind of don't know if it goes further than that from the news we have so far, but it gives the impression that he wanted it to.
It does. It always does. I mean, allegedly. I'm coming in here with hot takes today. We're already getting sued by the Saudi crown prince. I know this guy's going to come after me, but like, I don't know. It's never as innocent as you want it to be.
Yeah, multiple women said or described him as love bombing them, and they felt that they couldn't say no. On different games, like, okay, apparently, now I should say I've not played True Colors. I will admit I was a little put off by like, there's been kind of a joke about how each main character in the Life is Strange series gets way worse powers than the last one. I do forget in the first game it is time manipulation. Life is Strange 2 I believe that one was like telekinesis, maybe? I could be wrong. The True Colors is empathy. You can know what people are feeling. Which was, it's not quite as strong as time powers.
Definitely not as busted.
Not as busted.
There's a lot more white women with crystals that claim to have that power in real life than there are white women with crystals with time powers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So to the game's credit, it sounds like part of the narrative is about, it takes time to learn about your transgressions and to be better, but, learning to have empathy for other people, things like that. So that is a little relevant to the story in that people remarked that seemed like the game or that Zach Garris didn't have a whole lot of empathy. He didn't really understand when people wanted to tell stories about other points of view. He had reportedly said that he doesn't really understand why people feel the need to relate to a main character because they look like them, because he's worked on games where he didn't, or he's played games with white male leads, and he didn't necessarily relate to them, and also reportedly said that, or allegedly said that if he was working on a game like Uncharted, where he had Nathan Drake, he wouldn't be getting as much pushback as he got on some things.
Jeez.
And one of the things he got pushback on, once again, big allegedly, is wanting to have a character. Apparently, a character I think, is shot by a close friend in True Colors. Like I said, I've not played that game. He wanted, before that happened, he wanted the character to get drugged at a bar by that character, to which many people on the staff said, don't do that. That's going to be very triggering for a lot of people, especially women, and we just don't have the time in the story we're telling to really unpack that. And it just felt like it didn't fit. And he took a lot of convincing, including someone opening up about their own personal story relating to things like that before he would be swayed.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he just sounds like an absolute ass, to the point that he left the studio of his own volition, and some of the higher-ups talked about bringing him back on for the next game, and many people were like, no, do not do it. Please do not do it. They were begging. Do not bring him back.
Yeah, that's not good when the staff fucking riots at the idea of you returning. It sounds like...
he has his statement of that it was a small group that, wasn't... that he did great work and he stands by it and everyone loved him. I am not convinced. It doesn't read like it reads like a very arrogant man.
Yeah, it's kind of like, everybody loves The Office. But if Michael Scott were a real person, then he would not be the kind of boss you want to have. No. I don't know. This guy just feels super tone deaf.
Also, they kind of had to make Michael... They had to work in with him. They worked real hard to be like, okay, but he's got a good heart. We really had to stress that one.
Yeah, unlike Ricky Gervais, and also Ricky Gervais's character in The Office.
Well, he was apparently far less redeemable.
No, that's what I mean. Is yeah.
Oh, I misheard you.
I was just making a joke there at Ricky Gervais's expense, but never mind. We'll just blow right past that.
No, I got it. I got you.
But yeah,
now I feel bad.
That's I feel like it is an all too common thing in game development. I mean, tech in general has been a boys' club for a long time and developed some really toxic byproducts of that. I mean, look at the Activision Blizzard SEC lawsuit. If you don't believe me, like, these things are ingrained and they are going to have to be uprooted because, and this is where, people talk about we talk about DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, and people are like, oh, I don't understand the value add to DEI. The value add to DEI is that they stopped that product from going out the door with a storyline that would have alienated tons of people, right? They caught that because they had diversity on the team.
In my experience, happy, comfortable people work better. They do good work.
Yes.
Turns out when you're not preoccupied with hostility around you and uncomfortability, you can work better. Shocking.
Crazy.
So I know I've spent a while on this, but I want to give another piece of information or two, which is, one, I just thought you'd like to know. This dude also said that referred to BLM as a hate group, allegedly.
Oh, jeez. Sounds like him and Tommy Tallarico could do something together.
I wanted to see. I didn't get to take as good of notes, as thorough notes as I would have liked to on this. There's a lot of yelling at people and things like that.
General abusive behavior, sure.
Yeah, I wanted to find when. Let me see. It was. Sorry. I would usually try to put this in my own words a little bit more, but to quote from the article, In another example, multiple people told me Garrus fought hard for a twist on True Color's final choice. A number of writers point out included a problematic portrayal of migrant workers that needed to be changed. It eventually was. And several sources recalled in a meeting in which Garrus told people who'd push back on this decision they're getting too hung up on political ideologies and asked everyone present to go around the room and list their political affiliations.
What?
This man is a walking lawsuit.
Oh my god! But I know focused in on him because he's a fairly ridiculously awful person, it sounds like. But it should be said, people were begging management for help here, and it took a lot of work for them not just rehire him. Also, it sounds like they worked with Telltale later, which he went to work with, and ended up still having to work with him again. They faced a ton of crunch. Sometimes it was one of those things of it's not mandated, but yeah. The team member said it was, quote, never mandated, but, you have too much work. You have to get it done. So it's never mandated, but let's say there would be consequences if you didn't get all that work done that you don't have time to do in a normal work schedule.
Yeah.
And this, I kind of buried the lead, or not buried the lead. The IGN article starts a little different, but I thought I'd save it for y'all. Which is one of the reasons this all came up is that, or the way they kind of opened the article is that last year while working on Life is Strange, some developers noticed a reference to the number 88. Thought it was kind of weird because could be an innocent mistake, but that's a Nazi
Yeah, it's a dog whistle, right? Yeah.
Then they found references to number 18 and I think this is pronounced Haggle rune. It's a Nazi rune. They found references to a racist meme. And they were slow to act on people were getting worried because it's someone in our studio is putting Nazi shit in our game. In fact, one of the games that would be most thematically far away from Nazi shit.
Yeah. I hate Nazis, obviously. But one of the biggest reasons to hate them, I mean, this is one of the pettiest reasons to hate them, right? But just their reappropriation of random bullshit that you're you would have no idea otherwise that the number 88 is problematic unless you're familiar with their horseshit. And then they do things like they take Mac at Night. I'm mad about this one. Mac at Night was for everybody.
Mac at Night too.
Mac at Night was for fucking everybody, and you bastards fucking took him from me.
Reclaim Mac at Night.
Yes, we do have to reclaim Mac at Night.
You know what? I just in case, Red, if you haven't, do me a favor, look up Mac at Night. That's a fun journey for you to go on. Or put them on our display screen and keep them there for the remainder of the podcast.
No, because then people are going to see it in the thumbnail and they're going to be like, oh, hell yeah, Nazi podcast. See, that's the problem. That's why I'm fucking angry. Is because I can't...
Yeah, I don't even know what to look up here.
Don't worry, I'll show you later. I'll send it to you later. I was hoping maybe I could get a live reaction. It's a McDonald's mascot from years back.
He had a big moon head. He's cool as hell.
But, yeah, right now so, all that to say, shit kind of sucks. And right now, they've had rounds of layoffs. They've been losing projects. Wolf Among Us 2 and The Walking Dead kind of fell through. Basically, the studio is in half the size it used to be. And
hang on.
So
I'm sorry. I've got to put a member of our chat on blast. I know normally we try to keep chat sort of separate from the main show because, for audio listeners and all of that. But Ashy Crowned Sparrow Larks has been here hanging out with us, and when we were just talking about Mac at Night, which by the way is Mac Tonight, I fucked that up.
Okay.
Ashy Crowned Sparrow Larks commented, played by Doug Jones, and I just googled that, and it's true.
What?
And Ashy, how do you know who played Mac Tonight off the top of your dome
you
like
don't know who
that?
Doug Jones is?
No, I just don't know how you know who played Mac Tonight, is my point. That he played Mac Tonight.
I assume it's just being familiar with Doug Jones more than familiarity with Mac Tonight.
Fair enough. But still, that's just a wild piece of trivia, and I couldn't let
I was going to say, Doug Jones is fairly...
Yes, very much. I'm not disputing that.
Oh, yeah.
It was just wild to me
I didn't know
that I'm
that,
talking
but
about
it is
Mac
wild to
Tonight,
know. Okay.
and Ashy immediately knows the actor that played him.
I just wanted to say...
Yeah, continue on with what you were doing.
It just bums me out, because at the end of the day, and I do want to clarify, I didn't miss out on True Colors. It's purely, a lot of games came out that year. Never really, outside of watching a playthrough of The First Life is Strange, I've never dipped a toe in exactly so much, but it wasn't necessarily... I see why those games are loved, and they're out here trying to give a voice and representation to people who don't get represented as much in media, and it sounds like they've had to fight like hell for that representation a lot of the time, such as the Square Enix saying they didn't want it to be a gay game, so in marketing they didn't talk about one of the characters, the character who is bisexual being bisexual, and then as a rule, and then when people love it for that, they're like, oh yeah, that was we're champions of representation.
Welcome to corporate diversity, friend.
Yeah, Bungie did
that's always what it is like.
According to a reporting from a few years back, Bungie did the same thing with some of their characters in Destiny.
Yeah.
Who were gay.
Oh shit, we found out it's profitable. Now we are allies.
We were always here. We've always had the right position, and we did this all on purpose. We did not actively discourage it every step of the way. It frustrates me because at the end of the day, non-white male voices need to be heard. And thank you for listening to our podcast of 3 white dudes to tell you that.
Hey, I'm a fucking cat, okay? And that's a skeleton, and you're Kirby.
You're right. I'm a legally distinct character. But
yeah, no, but we are aware that the fact that this podcast is 3 white men, and we're sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. We're all sorry.
We're very sorry.
He's not sorry. That son of a bitch.
Red hasn't apologized yet. Red has been shockingly silent on this issue.
I have been deep diving into Mac Tonight.
No, Red, no. You haven't apologized for being a white man. And now you're looking into Mac Tonight. Oh, God, we're losing him.
This is some super twisted stuff that is so bizarre.
Am I getting a message from you saying, I feel like everyone hates to see a white man win? That's a weird message to send me, man.
I'm so confused on the fact that this was a Doom mod also.
Wait, what?
Everything's a Doom mod. But
they modded him in as a character and included all the racist lines they made him say.
Oh,
when
geez.
people retweeted, not retweeted, edited the original, McDonald's video.
I was so happy, and you just made me so sad.
Yeah, I thought they were just big Mac Tonight fans. I didn't realize they were Nazis.
Between potential and reality has never hurt me more.
I mean, one of the other characters this mod lets you play as is Adolf Hitler, so.
Yeah,
well,
that makes sense. Speaking
of the gulf between potential and reality, I think Red has a great story for us about the alternate reality that BAFTA is living in.
Yeah. They're definitely out there somewhere. So anyway, Captain.
Yeah, I know.
I believe you haven't seen this.
No, I have not seen it. I feel like we should probably give a little bit more lead in before we jump into this.
I think that's what Rhett's doing.
Okay, I didn't know if he was. I thought he was. Okay. My bad.
Trust me and trust my processes. I've never failed. So BAFTA made a list. Our BFFs over at BAFTA, Augustin Weckstein. So they made a list of the 20 most iconic video game characters of all time. Captain, I'm going to ask you to pick a number between 1 and 10.
Oh, see, I thought you were gonna have me guess. Let's go 10.
Okay. Number 10. I'm just going to read these lines out to you, and you're going to have to figure out what character this is. One of the youngest characters on this list in terms of release date.
Okay.
Who do you think the 10th most popular video game icon is?
Oh, sorry. I thought
And
I was
they're
getting
one
the
of the youngest.
description.
They're one
Yes,
of the youngest.
he's giving you a clue.
Oh, okay, I got it. One of the youngest, most iconic. Let's go Inkling.
No, game released 2023.
Wait.
Damn. Okay, way younger than
What?
2023.
And honestly, you may have picked the one that is one of the most out of place entries on this list, not even concerning the top 3.
I think. Wait,
was Inkling on the list?
Excuse me?
Was Inkling on the list?
No. I'm saying number 10 is maybe the most out of place thing on this list.
Most out of place. Who's the fucking main character for Spoken?
It's not that one.
Okay, let's. Yeah, I think I'm ready to hear.
There has to be a better way.
I want to know too because They said earliest in terms of release date, and it's from 2023. What the hell? Who the hell is this?
No. He means earliest. Like he meant youngest in terms of how recently they've been debuted.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's the last thing, and this will definitely point you in the right direction. This is the 3rd entry in this game. In this series.
Okay, so now it feels like it has to be Baldur's Gate 3?
It's Baldur's Gate 3, but which character is it?
Astarion?
That would make a lot more sense, honestly. It's Shadowheart.
Yeah, you know.
Shadowheart is at number 10.
The 10th most iconic video game character of all time, Shadowheart.
Do you know who Shadowheart placed over? Number 11 is Arthur Morgan. 12 is Pikachu.
I want you to guess, Captain, who's in the number 5 slot? Because that one really blew me away.
Number 5. Okay. Sorry, I'm still thinking about. I will. You know what? I might have to change my focus because I do understand a world in which Shadowheart is very iconic. So let me try to reframe my approach. Are they an Overwatch character?
No.
Okay.
Game debuted in 2008.
Let's see if you can. 2008. Let's see if you can crack my criteria. Rosalina.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a good one. But no.
Also, I think that was a bit earlier. I think 2008 was like Galaxy 2.
They have starred in 6 mainline games, as well as making an appearance in numerous other franchises.
6 mainline games.
This game is I believe it is. These game series are solely locked to the PlayStation.
Solely locked to the PlayStation. I don't know if my criteria is going to work. I was going off documentaries I've seen online.
Oh, no. No, they're not ranked that way.
Yeah, I was going to go with I was going to see how long I could list Bayonetta, Jill Valentine, and other characters until you start to catch on about what the running theme is.
No, if you go with that, you'll never guess this character.
Okay, locked to PlayStation. Let's say Jack.
No.
Give him the answer.
Yeah, give me the answer.
Little Big Planet Sackboy.
As the 5th most popular game character of all time.
Okay, I know what's happening. To a degree.
Okay.
It's because it's British. Little Big Planet, Media Molecule is a British company.
Okay.
I
Okay, now,
think it
I want
might
you
have
to-
had a bigger cultural impact there, and they have disproportionately. They haven't quite caught on that that's not true everywhere. That's my
Okay.
guess.
So I want you to give me just tell me what you think the top 3 are.
Give us your top 3 and we'll give you
Mario.
their top 3, yeah.
Mario, Sonic, Pac-Man.
Only one of those is in the top 3.
What the fuck? Look, it's not that Pac-Man is. Look, I'm gonna be real. I partially pulled that from Smash Brothers, but like, Pac-Man is a weird third. I'll admit that. I just thought I'd spread my guesses, but you're telling me only one of those is in there?
They're all on this list, but only one of those is in the top 3.
It's gotta be Mario.
Okay. Mario.
Mario's gotta be the one who was in the top 3, right?
I'm going to give you this. What position do you think Mario's in?
He should be like number 1. But I'm guessing due to this being a fucked up clown list that he's not going to be number 1.
You guessed correctly there.
Fuck.
I'll just tell you that Mario is number 2 on this fucked up list.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's got 3 is still.
Who do you think's in the number 1 spot? Who do you think takes the crown? The most iconic video game character of all time.
It's gotta be Big the Cat.
That was one of my guesses.
Croft.
This is British bias. This is bullshit.
All right,
This is
so
British bias at its best.
So I'm going to give you this list in order, starting with number 1. Lara Croft, Mario. You ready for this? Agent 47, Sonic the Hedgehog, Sackboy, Pac-Man, Link, Master Chief, Kratos, Shadowheart, Arthur Morgan, Pikachu, Steve, Solid Snake.
Hold on. Shadowheart and Arthur Morgan don't hit as hard until you get to Pikachu, because that really fucks me up. I can't really appreciate the full depth of how insane it is until we hit something like that.
Yeah.
Most
iconic
iconic
than Pikachu.
Most iconic of all time, in my opinion, would have been Pikachu, Mario, Pac-Man.
Sorry, you can keep going, but fuck.
All right, number 12 was Pikachu. 13, Steve. Solid Snake.
I know.
Crash Bandicoot. Cloud Strife. Asterion. Kazuma
Wait.
Kiryu. Ellie Williams. Nathan Drake.
Ellie, I get. I don't agree unless you're on some websites. Nathan Drake, I like Uncharted, but really? Wait, what? There was one there. What'd you say? Did you say Wild Strikes?
No.
I misheard you. What was? I missed one.
Fellas,
Yeah, I know. This is more.
No,
sorry,
I think that we might. Chat has a theory, and I think they're right. I think we might have been duped. I think this list. This is again Ashy Crown's idea, so I don't want to take credit for her idea, but this list puts Tomb Raider at the top. Didn't Tomb Raider recently announce a new entry?
No, what Tomb Raider did was they put out a remastered collection.
Okay. This could be a viral marketing piece for Tomb Raider. And it's purposefully rage bait to make you be like, oh, Tomb Raider, I remember those. And then buy Tomb Raider. We might have just fallen into we might have just activated their trap card.
These are okay. I thought you said something about Wild Strike or something. It was Cloud Strife. I just misheard really bad. But yeah, maybe. But even then, like, it's not saying the BAFTA can't be bought, but it feels a little weird. I think this is a mix of like weird British shit, and someone who doesn't play a lot of video games. But then again, I guess Iconic should. Agent 47 is number 3.
Yeah, Agent 47 is number 3.
I think there is also a consideration to be made of the top 4 all have movies. And I think they might be like, Tomb Raider. It had those movies. Or
I think they
Hitman had 2 movies, which fucks me up because I only knew about 1.
I think they asked ChatGPT.
I think they might have.
This whole article might be written by ChatGPT.
Like, don't get me wrong.
If it was British bias, don't you think they would have put in there, like, Quidman at number 1?
No, we're not that they're not that insane. We can't put Margaret Thatcher as number 1.
I just figured they would they'd put old Quidman in there.
I would love to see Harry Potter show the list. Arthur Morgan is also still fucking me up. But once again, Rockstar game.
Well, nobody took my bait on Quidman. I was going to do a really bad, like, British accent. It was going to be a whole. It was going to be a whole bit. It was going to be a whole bit to alienate any of our UK audience. And you avoided it. I do actually think we have a listener in the UK. Love you guys. Keep being great.
If they were great, they would have won the Revolutionary War, wouldn't they?
And they might not have left the EU. But we in the American Glass House cannot throw stones.
No, the whole point of America is living in a glass house and never quitting throwing stones. I will throw stones until my last breath.
Well, gang, I want to go into one last news story for this week. And that is this Xbox preservation team. So, we've talked about how digital ownership is kind of fucking us all. And it's nice to hear that at least one company is keeping an eye towards making sure that their games don't disappear forever, and that's Microsoft.
It's weird.
I'm not trying to fanboy Microsoft, and the article we took this from, I'm going to go ahead and warn you if you go look this up. Windows Central did an exclusive piece on this. It's basically Nintendo power for Microsoft, right? It's called Windows Central. Draw the conclusions you will. That said, Xbox president Sarah Bond discussed the new preservation team. So with the idea that, we're not only moving forward with hardware, we're making sure that all of our previous software is going to run on it and actually taking that kind of thing seriously rather than making it an afterthought or selling me a remake, which I really appreciate. However, I will say in the same breath, she mentioned shit about using AI in game development. So, they're not great. It's just this one thing might be good.
Okay, so I can tell you why part of this is happening. Which is, it's Microsoft, it's funny in like a 10 years, 10 years is quite a while, but I remember back around the Xbox One announcement and people being outraged over different matters related to game preservation, being able to move things forward to the next console. And I'm guessing someone took note because Microsoft over the years definitely has shifted strategies towards, part of the point of Game Pass and the way they're changed their naming scheme on the consoles, it's kind of becoming more clear that they want it to feel like you buy the thing, but your library continues to exist. That they want you to feel a certain not uniformity, they want this idea of you buy an Xbox, it plays an Xbox game. And as long as if you're staying current, you don't really got to worry about it. It'll play your game. I imagine they see some value in that, especially because Sony has done a worse job than Xbox at that in a ton of ways. Most glaringly, the fucking PS3.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's definitely an area of the market where Xbox stands to stand out a little bit, differentiate themselves, because their competition is Sony and Nintendo, who fucking suck at this.
Yeah. And I think they have, whether they purposefully found their way there while self-correcting and decide to keep going in that direction, or if, like, whether it was a long-term plan or it was a thing they adapted to over time, they are one of the best options console-wise if you want longevity. If you want your things to work across devices and all that, like, they want that idea that they want the thing of why consoles succeed. You get a console, if you put the disc in for the console, it works. It's the reason PC may never completely outpace consoles, because you don't have that guarantee there. And they want that to, like, obviously they want that to be across devices and things like that as well. Like, they want an ease to access and expectation that the software you buy will run. And, like, that's a good thing. We'll see how much this develops, but I mean, and how much, like, how serious they are about it, but even just a gesture towards it is nice, because fuck Nintendo. Nintendo's been so bad about game preservation and shutting down attempts at it. And, like, I don't know how big of waves it could make, but it would be awfully nice to if this can have an impact, to reverberate a little across the industry.
Yeah, well, if Sony or Nintendo felt threatened by Microsoft, maybe that would happen. But
yeah,
I don't think that is going to happen anytime soon.
No.
Microsoft does okay, pretty well here in the States, but
oh yeah, overseas just getting absolutely slaughtered.
They've had such a hard time breaking into the marketplace in Japan.
Well, fellas, we're about at time, but we went live a little late today.
Yeah, I figured we would
do you guys have a little time to stick around and talk about what we've been playing recently?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Cool. Well, I'll take the lead on this. I've been playing a little indie game the past couple days that is quite cool. It's called No Plan B, and no.
I assume it takes place in our very conservative future.
I was about to say, no, it's not about unprotected sex, but you beat me to that joke. And so...
gotta be faster.
Gotta be faster. It's a tactical SWAT game, but you play it top down. It's like almost like XCOM, but basically the premise is it's voxel-based. It's a very small indie game. It actually just got its full release out of beta. And the premise is that you're making a plan. You have the layout, like the blueprint of the building, and you're making a plan for how your units are going to move in real time. So you're like timing them to go through doors at the same time and do this kind of thing. And then you execute that plan. And when they execute it, it just plays out and you get to see how well your planning did. They have different gear you can unlock, different, you can get like flashbangs, shields, stuff like that. You start with like 2 guys, and then as you go, you can get more. And it's procedurally generated in part. So, like, the missions, if you fail a mission and you restart it, The enemies are not going to be where they were. The building's not going to be the same that it was.
This is really neat. I'm looking at it.
Yeah, it's a cool little game. It's a little easier than I maybe wanted it to be. I'm on chapter 4 out of 5 now. It's not very long, but it was like $8, and it's fun. It's cool. It's worth checking out.
It reminds me of another game. I can't remember the name. It's still in early access, I think. It's a mech game where you plan out movements ahead of time, like on a timeline. And then, yeah, you enact them.
Oh, holy shit. Not to jump back to something that we were talking about too long ago, but our friend from chat, Ashy, ran top 10 video game characters through ChatGPT, and it's shockingly similar. Its top 10 are Link, Master Chief, Lara Croft, Sonic the Hedgehog, Pac-Man, Samus Aran, Solid Snake, Kratos, and Pikachu. And, you know, just for those who don't know, like, oh, it's not exactly the same, that means they didn't use it. No, because if you ask an AI the same question twice, it gives you 2 different answers.
Yeah. It's
so that
not
could
built around consistency.
That could very, very, very well be what happened. But anyways, I digress.
No, you're good. I wanted to find, but I can't. I hate to mention a game and then not have a name, but I don't remember the name of this game at all. But yeah, it was one where it's a turn-based game with mechs, and you plan out the battle ahead of time with, like, it's almost like you have a video editor style timeline at the bottom, and you're like,
interesting, because that's almost exactly how this game
That's
works.
what made me think of it.
So I kind of wonder, I hope it's not a rip. I hope I didn't just advertise somebody's rip of another game, but
hey, I understand, but at the same time, the game industry is built on, like,
it's all iterative. But now I got to go try this mech game and then come back and tell you guys if it's better.
Everyone.
Okay, are you talking about Are you talking about Phantom Brigade?
I think it was Phantom Brigade. Yeah.
Cool. Well, now I have another game to go play. But yeah, Captain, what have you been playing? This week?
I see you got another one you might want to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to talk about that, but I don't think we have. I mean, you know, I was given us an extra 10-minute cushion. So we're kind of burning through that a little bit here. So I was gonna just go ahead and move on to the next one. And I'll talk about that next week.
Okay, then I will focus on 2 things. One is I finished Pacific Drive. I finished it like right after last week's podcast.
Nice.
I had fun. I had a good time all the way through. My biggest gripe is that I felt like the ending was a little underwhelming. Like, there's a cool escape sequence at one point, but every round of the game, every session you play will have a cool escape sequence. So that doesn't stand out quite as much. And aside from that, like, it was mostly walking around some corridor, very repetitive corridors, while some story stuff plays out. It wasn't bad, it just didn't hit as well as I wanted. But all that said, still had a blast with that game. I might go back eventually and try to finish some routes and stuff I didn't do, get some unlockables I didn't get, but good game. And I'm gonna shelve Destiny 2. Like, I've just been playing and I've been wanting to raid more, but not a whole lot to say. Excited for new content. But I think I've mentioned Noita before. It's a really cool side scroller. I
Noita,
play it from
I barely
time to time. Huh?
Noita, I barely know her.
Damn it! I should have given you a shot. Say what you wanted, but procedurally generated to a degree. It's fun. It's a really fun game. A lot of it is randomized. You're getting wands and spells to equip on them. You're reconfiguring shit. You can play on a controller, but I'm going to be real. You're going to want mouse and keyboard for it. It can be hilariously unfair at times. If you check that subreddit, you'll see people get killed in insane ways they had no way to see coming. And so that's always an accepted risk. But God, it can be a fun time.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be like...
Oftentimes you kill yourself in dumb, unexpected ways.
That sounds like it would be either extremely fun... I mean, you gotta buy into the concept, right? Like, you gotta be like, okay, I am okay with this ruining, you know, a hours-long run. Yeah.
A roguelite, because you do... Spells you unlock, they do persist into new runs. They will appear in the world after you find, like, things that relate to them, or spawn them. It's a... It can be a lot of fun exploring. And realizing how much bigger that world is than you think it might be. There's a direction it gestures you in, and you kind of get the idea of where you need to be going. But sometimes when you start questioning the critical path, like, no one told me to go this way. What if I go these ways and discover, there's so much. And sometimes when you have a really good run, it can just be rewarding to try to access areas you haven't been able to get into and shit like that. And I haven't had a complete run yet, but I have a blast with it almost every time I play it. Highly recommend. And I mention it. Part of the reason I want to bring it up is it just, like, this week got an update for Epilogue. It's Epilogue 2 update, which added new content across the board. So it's worth checking out.
Cool.
It's just a fun time.
Yeah, I'll have to look at it. You've told me about it before. It's been one of those that's on my to play list.
I can't stress enough. It will beat your ass sometimes.
Before we head, I'm sorry.
Fun.
No, finish. You finished.
No, that was it.
Before we head out, Red, anything you've been playing you want to talk about for a little bit?
I've still been playing Dragon Dogma 2, New Game Plus on there, having a blast.
How is the New Game Plus on that?
So the New Game Plus is subtle. Right now, there's not a hard mode. It's not going to get more difficult.
Okay.
The things that happen in New Game Plus are very, very, very subtle. That being said, I expect there to be maybe some more developments there. But I do expect a hard mode maybe sometime soon.
Cool.
But if you're like me and you have two friends who you do a show with who both haven't beaten Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon yet, I would like to shout out Luke Yui, creator of the Elden Ring Seamless Co-op mod, has made the Armored Core co-op mod, where now you can co-op the story.
Ooh, we'll definitely be giving that a try. I can't imagine. I mean, it's going to be fun. I think we're going to blow through everything.
There is difficulty adjustment.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay. That's cool.
I still don't know how it's going to manage. I don't know what it's going to do when it comes to, like, I can understand making enemies tougher or more resilient and they deal more damage. But I don't know how you deal with a boss having to focus on, like, 4 different dudes running around it.
I'm sorry. I may have forgot to mention, this also adds invasions as a mechanic.
Oh, that's awesome.
Don't know that directly changes the thing I was thinking of, but that is very interesting.
Yeah, that's dope. Well, gang, there's a sad man standing by a microphone in the corner. I figure I'll let him play us out when it's time. So if you joined this show late, if you joined the show after we initially went live, I'd like you to stick around for just a little bit because there's a sad man and I think he's got something to tell you. But first, before we cut to him, I'm just gonna do my usual weekly announcements, I guess. They're the same every week. You know them. You can find us on YouTube at TinyBigDude. Put edits up of these. Edit some of the flubs out. So if you miss us live, check us out there. And if you say, well, I don't have time to sit down and watch a video of a cat head bobble up and down, that's fine, because you can also find us on Spotify. Apple, and Amazon podcasts. So there's multiple ways to enjoy the show, and we hope that you have been enjoying it. As always, you can find us here at 5:15 CST every Tuesday. Because, Red, what are we?
We are trapped here by a wizard.